everybody, welcome back. August 2nd, 2024, and take a look at the new updates on potential Hurricane Debby. Here we go. We still have that very obvious clipping of Florida. In fact, this thing passes over the entire state of Florida. Will it be a hurricane at that point? We don't know yet, but we do know that as we move forward in this process, both the Carolinas and potentially the Northeast have an issue on their hands after we see the potential Gulf threat, what this may or may not do to the west coast of Florida or Georgia. And then, as I said, the Carolinas all the way up to the Northeast could have effects from this storm. As you can see here from the National Hurricane Center out of Miami, we are at a 90% chance of cyclone formation. This will clearly not take 7 days. We know that for a fact, but each day that I've posted, this has gone up 30% each day. And now we are about 24 hours away from the potential formation of this cyclone before it even makes that right hook back across Florida into the Atlantic. As you can see here, and as I've shown you for days now, this thing's path was going to go right under South Florida, possibly clipping the Keys, and then ride up the west coast of Florida as we discussed, crossing over. And at one point we had the storm sitting and then kind of coming back across Florida, but things have changed, as I said they would. I knew Florida was going to be a consistent part of this forecast, but I did not know what was going to happen after. And now once this storm gets out into the Atlantic again, it's going to blow up into possibly a 2, maybe a category 3 storm, basically right after it gets back out into the Atlantic here after having crossed Florida. This is where things are going to get pretty serious now, and we need to focus on the future ahead. This is where it sits and builds up momentum based on the high pressure in the Atlantic. It's being pushed into the coast, and then across the United States we have our jet stream, and different high pressures are forming another pressure wall, and that's what's pinning this storm and allowing it the timing to build up as a large hurricane. So again, by the time this thing does actually extend out into the Northeast, we could be looking at a 2 or even a category 3 Hurricane Debby. In fact, some of these weatherunderground.org models, as you can see, have it crossing over Florida into the Atlantic, and then some of them actually making a landfall in North Carolina. And again, depending on the speed and how long this thing sits in this pocket right here will determine the effects of that landfall, whether that be near the Outer Banks or somewhere more south. It is not out of the realm of possibility to see a South Carolina landfall as well. We also now have the European model very much agreeing with this path at least, but the strengths are kind of up in the air about what's going to happen once we have that exit into the Atlantic Ocean from the Gulf. There is still plenty of time for this storm to actually form between Cuba and southern Florida here and become a hurricane before making that first landfall as it passes over western Florida and then back off the east coast. As you can see here, this thing is really starting to bubble. It has passed the threshold of Dominican Republic and Haiti. It is now fully over Cuba, and the surrounding warm water on either side of this island will continue to fuel this storm. Even if the center is over land, it will still continue to maintain its strength until it gets into the bathwater of the Gulf. And that, my friends, is when we're going to start seeing that counterclockwise spin and all the little warnings and possible evacuations we may see before this thing even forms into a tropical storm. All right, my friends, quick one for you there. I'll have updates throughout the day and tomorrow. It is not going to be a good situation in Florida for a few days, and then we have to worry about other states within the Southeast. Thank you all so much, and I'll see you in the next one. Take care. Bye-bye. Stop right there, my friends. If you have not already, click that subscribe button and don't forget to hit the bell icon. Click all and you will get all notifications from this channel. And trust me, you won't be disappointed.